Male intimacy, your path to more connection, passion, and fulfillment. Introduction. A new perspective on sexual self-development for men. In our modern society, there are many expectations and norms that revolve around the topic of sexuality. Men are often confronted with certain ideas about masculinity and sexual performance. But sexual self-development is much more than just performance and fulfilling societal expectations. This introduction invites you to take a new perspective on sexual self-development for men. It's about exploring your own needs, desires and preferences and finding a fulfilling sexuality beyond pressure and expectations. In this book, you will learn how to better understand yourself, physically, emotionally, and mentally. You will discover how to identify and communicate your own sexual needs in order to build a fulfilling sexual relationship with yourself and your partner. We'll cover topics such as self-acceptance, body positivity, overcoming pressure to perform and fears, and expanding your sexual repertoire. You'll learn to appreciate the importance of intimacy and connection in sex and explore techniques to increase sexual pleasure. But this book is not just for you. We will also look at the role of your partner in your sexual self-development and show ways in which you can experience fulfilling sexual development together. Finally, we will look at long-term strategies to integrate your sexual self-development into your life on a permanent basis. You will learn how to nurture and care for yourself in order to continuously work on your sexual development. This book is a guide on your new path to fulfilling sexuality. It encourages you to question old thought patterns and social norms and to discover an authentic, self-determined sexuality. The journey begins now. Be open, be curious and discover the diverse possibilities of sexual self-development for men. Why is sexual self-development important? The importance of sexual self-development for individual well-being and quality of life. Why sexual fulfillment is a basic human need. The effects of a fulfilling sexuality on physical and mental health. How sexual self-development can lead to a positive self-image and increased self-confidence. The importance of self-determination and self-acceptance in sexual development. The benefits of a fulfilling sexuality. Increase in general well-being and life satisfaction. Improving physical health by releasing endorphins and strengthening the immune system. Promoting emotional bonding and intimacy in a partnership. Reducing stress and anxiety. Increased self-acceptance and self-esteem. Increase in sexual energy and desire. Improving sexual performance and sexual pleasure. Promoting communication and understanding in sexual relationships. Expansion of sexual repertoire and sexual fantasies. Increasing sexual self-confidence and developing one's own sexual identity. Physical and psychological foundations of male sexuality. The physical and psychological foundations of male sexuality play a crucial role in sexual self-development. On a physical level, this includes the anatomy of the male reproductive system, including the penis, testicles and prostate. During sexual arousal, physiological processes are set in motion that lead to an erection and ultimately to orgasm. Hormonal influences are also important, as hormones such as testosterone can increase sexual desire and pleasure. Psychological factors also play an important role and can affect sexual health. Anxiety, stress, relationship problems or negative beliefs can all have a negative impact on sexual fulfillment. In addition, cultural and social aspects shape male sexuality. Ideas about masculinity, Social norms and expectations can influence sexual self-image. It is important to understand that sexual orientation and identity can be diverse in men and vary from individual to individual. Finally, male sexuality is subject to age-related changes. While sexual functions are often particularly pronounced in young years, changes can occur over the course of life. An understanding of the physical and psychological foundations of male sexuality enables men to consciously shape their sexual self-development and achieve a fulfilling sex life. Anatomy and functions of the male body. The anatomy of the male body includes specific features and organs that play an important role in sexual self-development. Here are some important aspects of the male anatomy and their functions. Penis. The penis consists of erectile tissue that fills with blood during sexual arousal, leading to an erection. The glands at the end of the penis is particularly sensitive and plays an important role in sexual stimulation. Testicles. The testicles produce sperm and the male sex hormone testosterone. They are also responsible for regulating the temperature of the scrotum to ensure sperm production. Prostate. The prostate is a gland-like structure located below the bladder. It produces a fluid that is part of semen and helps sperm move. Epididymis. The epididymis stores and matches sperm before they enter the vas deferens. Vas deferens. The vas deferens transport the sperm from the epididymis to the urethra. Urethra. The urethra allows the transport of urine from the bladder and semen during the ejaculation process. The functions of the male body related to sexual self-expression include the production of sperm, arousal and erection of the penis, the release of semen during orgasm, and the excretion of urine. Understanding the anatomy and functions of the male body is crucial to understanding one's sexual health and experiencing a fulfilling sexuality. Hormones and their role in sexual self-development. Hormones play an essential role in a man's sexual self-development. The most important hormone in relation to male sexuality is testosterone. Here is some information about hormones and their importance for sexual health. Testosterone. Testosterone is the primary male sex hormone and plays a crucial role in regulating sexual desire, erections and sperm production. Adequate testosterone levels are important for a healthy and fulfilling sexuality. Estrogens. Although estrogens are known as female hormones, they are also produced in the male body, albeit in smaller amounts. They contribute to sexual function, particularly the blood flow and health of the erectile tissue in the penis. Prolactin. Prolactin is a hormone normally associated with the production of breast milk. However, in men, elevated prolactin levels can lead to sexual dysfunction, such as decreased sexual desire or erectile dysfunction. Serotonin. Serotonin is a neurotransmitter that is responsible for, among other things, mood regulation. An imbalance of serotonin can affect sexual function and lead to premature ejaculation. Cortisol. Cortisol is a stress hormone that can be elevated in certain situations. Chronic stress and elevated cortisol levels can impair sexual desire and performance. A good hormonal balance is important for a healthy and fulfilling sexuality. If you have problems related to hormone production or hormone imbalances, it is advisable to consult a doctor and discuss possible treatment options. Psychological factors and sexual health. Psychological factors play a crucial role in a man's sexual health and self-development. Here are some important aspects to consider. Self-image and self-esteem. Self-image and self-esteem can have a significant impact on sexual health. A positive self-image and healthy self-esteem promote positive sexual experiences and confidence in one's own sexuality. Stress and anxiety. Stress and anxiety can affect sexual function and desire. High levels of stress can lead to increased production of stress hormones, which in turn can affect sexual desire and the ability to become sexually aroused. Managing stress and anxiety can therefore play an important role in sexual self-development. Relationship dynamics. The quality of the partnership and communication with the partner have a strong influence on sexual health. Open and honest communication. Mutual understanding and sharing sexual desires and needs can improve the sexual experience and contribute to a fulfilling sexuality. Sexual experiences and upbringing. Previous sexual experiences and the type of sexual upbringing can influence attitudes toward sexuality and sexual behavior. It is important to talk openly and honestly with yourself and your partner about these experiences and, if necessary, to overcome negative beliefs or attitudes. Emotional health. Emotional health and general well-being have a strong influence on sexual health. A good emotional balance. Dealing with emotional challenges and taking care of one's own well-being are therefore important aspects of sexual self-development. It is important to be aware that psychological factors are closely linked to the physical aspects of sexual health. A holistic approach that takes into account both physical and psychological health can lead to a fulfilling and healthy sexuality. Understanding your own needs and desires. Understanding your own needs and desires is crucial to achieving a fulfilling and satisfying sexuality. By knowing yourself better and identifying your sexual preferences and desires, you can create a deeper connection with yourself and your partner. Here are some important aspects to understanding your own needs and desires. Self-reflection. Take time to listen to yourself and think about your sexual preferences and fantasies. Ask yourself what turns you on, what gives you pleasure, and what kind of sexual experiences you desire. This process requires honesty and openness with yourself. Exploring your own body. Sexual self-discovery also includes exploring your own body. Through masturbation and self-stimulation, you can find out what touches and stimulations you like best and which erogenous zones are particularly sensitive. This awareness of your own body will help you to define your needs and desires more clearly. Open communication. It is important to share your sexual needs and desires with your partner. Open communication builds trust and allows both partners to understand their preferences and limits. Through honest conversations, you can work together to find out how to fulfill your sexual desires and support each other. Experiment and try new things. Sexual self-development also includes experimenting with different techniques, practices and fantasies. Be open to trying new things and expanding your sexual experiences. This can help you discover new facets of your sexuality and better understand your needs. Self-acceptance. Accept yourself with all your sexual preferences and desires. It is important to understand that everyone has individual needs and that it is okay to have them. Give yourself permission to accept yourself as you are and develop a positive self-image regarding your sexual needs. Working on understanding and accepting your own sexual needs and desires is a lifelong process. By getting to know yourself better and communicating your needs clearly, you can achieve a fulfilling sexuality based on authenticity, intimacy and mutual respect. Self-reflection. What do you want to achieve in your sex life? To achieve sexual fulfillment, it is important to understand your own needs and desires. Here are some steps that can help. Self-reflection. Take time to think about your sexual preferences, fantasies and needs. Ask yourself what is important to you and what fulfills you sexually. Also reflect on possible barriers or obstacles that could affect your sexual self-development. Self-exploration. Explore your own body and discover what you find sexually appealing and arousing. Experiment with different types of sexual stimulation and learn to know yourself better. This can help you understand and communicate your own needs and desires. Open communication. Share your sexual needs and desires openly and honestly with your partner. Open communication creates an understanding of each other's expectations and allows you to find new ways of sexual fulfillment together. Acceptance and self-love. Accept yourself with your sexual desires and needs. Allow yourself to accept your sexual identity and treat yourself lovingly. Self-acceptance is an important step on the path to sexual self-development. Education and inspiration. Learn about different sexual topics, techniques and practices that can support your sexual self-development. Books, workshops or online resources can offer you new perspectives and inspiration. Self-reflection and understanding of your own needs and desires lay the foundation for a fulfilling and satisfying sexuality. By getting to know yourself better and accepting your sexual identity, you can explore new ways of sexual self-development and experience a fulfilling sexuality. Communication with your partner about sexual needs. Communicating with your partner about sexual needs is crucial for a fulfilling and satisfying sexuality. Here are some important aspects to consider when communicating about sexual needs with your partner. Openness and honesty. Be open and honest about your sexual needs and desires. It is important to create a trusting and open atmosphere in which both partners can talk freely about their preferences and fantasies. Respectful communication. Make sure you communicate respectfully and empathetically. Avoid accusations or criticism and instead focus on expressing your own needs clearly and objectively. Active listening. Listen actively when your partner talks about their sexual needs. Show interest and ask questions to better understand their concerns. This shows that you are willing to address their needs and maintain open communication. Willingness to compromise. In a relationship, it is important to compromise and find common solutions. If there are different sexual needs, you can look together for ways to meet these needs in a way that is satisfactory for both of you. This requires openness, flexibility and creativity. Creating a safe environment. Create a safe and trusting environment where your partner feels free to express their needs and desires. Make sure they feel heard and respected, whether their preferences match yours or not. Regular conversations. Communication about sexual needs should not be a one-time event, but should be integrated into your relationship on a regular basis. Make a conscious effort to set aside time for open conversations about your sexual preferences and desires and update them as needed. Communicating about sexual needs with your partner allows for a deeper connection, greater intimacy, and the opportunity to develop a fulfilling sexuality together. By respecting each other, being responsive, and being open about your needs, you can build a satisfying and fulfilling sexual relationship. The role of fantasies and preferences in sexual self-development. Fantasies and preferences play an important role in sexual self-development. They enable us to explore and express our sexual desires, fantasies and inclinations. Here are some aspects that illustrate the role of fantasies and preferences in sexual self-development. Discovery and exploration. Fantasies and preferences provide us with the opportunity to discover and explore our sexual preferences and inclinations. They can help us better understand our own sexual interests and increase our pleasure and arousal. Creativity and expression. Fantasies and preferences allow us to live out our sexual creativity and engage in new ways of sexual expression. They give us the opportunity to explore and share our sexual fantasies and desires in a safe space. Increasing sexual arousal. Fantasies and preferences can help increase our sexual arousal. By focusing on our fantasies or incorporating certain preferences into our lovemaking, we can experience more intense sexual experiences and increase our pleasure. Communication with your partner. Fantasies and preferences also provide the opportunity to talk to your partner about sexual desires and fantasies. This can increase intimacy and understanding in the relationship and help both partners to better understand and fulfill their sexual needs. Self-acceptance and expression. By being aware of and giving space to our fantasies and preferences, we also encourage our self-acceptance and expression. It is important to recognize that fantasies and preferences are normal and individual, and to embrace them as part of our sexual identity. However, it is important that fantasies and preferences are always lived out in agreement with your partner and with consideration of both partners' wishes and limits. Open communication and mutual consent are crucial to maintaining a healthy and fulfilling sexual relationship. Overall, fantasies and preferences play a significant role in sexual self-development by helping us explore our sexual identity, increase our desire, and communicate our needs with our partner. By incorporating them into our sexual repertoire, we can achieve an enriching and fulfilling sexual experience. Self-acceptance and positive body image. Self-acceptance and a positive body image are important aspects of sexual self-development. This is about accepting yourself and your own body without being influenced by negative body images or societal beauty standards. A positive body image enables us to feel comfortable in our own bodies and to be confident and authentic in our sexual experiences. Self-acceptance involves recognizing and appreciating all aspects of ourselves, including our physicality and our sexual needs. It allows us to free ourselves from self-doubt and negative self-judgments and to accept ourselves in our uniqueness. By developing a positive attitude towards our body and our sexual identity, we can love ourselves better and develop more freely in a sexual context. A positive body image has a direct impact on our sexual satisfaction. When we accept our body and feel comfortable in it, we are able to focus on our sexual sensations and needs without being distracted by negative thoughts or insecurities. It allows us to surrender to the pleasure and intimacy in the sexual experience and to show ourselves confidently and sensually. Promoting self-acceptance and positive body image can involve various approaches. It can be helpful to identify negative self-talk and replace it with positive and affirming thoughts. Physical activities such as exercise, yoga or meditation can also help to strengthen the connection to one's own body and promote positive body image. It is also important to surround yourself with positive role models and supportive social networks that encourage us to accept and love ourselves. Developing self-acceptance and body positivity is an ongoing process that takes time and practice. It's about treating ourselves with compassion and kindness and freeing ourselves from societal expectations and comparisons. By accepting ourselves and feeling comfortable in our bodies, we can experience our sexual self-development in an authentic and fulfilling way. The importance of self-love and self-acceptance. The importance of self-love and self-acceptance in sexual self-development cannot be emphasized enough. Self-love refers to the unconditional acceptance and love of oneself, regardless of external evaluations or comparisons. It is the basis for healthy self-esteem and the foundation for a fulfilling sexual life. Through self-love, we learn to treat ourselves with compassion and kindness. We acknowledge and advocate for our own needs and desires. This allows us to set our sexual boundaries and explore our own preferences and fantasies without feeling guilty or ashamed. Self-acceptance goes hand in hand with self-love and refers to embracing and accepting all aspects of our personality, including our sexual identity. It means not comparing ourselves to others or allowing ourselves to be influenced by societal norms and expectations. Through self-acceptance, we can celebrate ourselves in our uniqueness and develop freely without constantly criticizing or judging ourselves. The importance of self-love and self-acceptance is that they enable us to respect and love ourselves. They set the stage for a healthy relationship with ourselves and others. When we accept and love ourselves, we can also communicate our sexual needs and desires more clearly and feel authentic and fulfilled in intimate relationships. Developing self-love and self-acceptance requires time, patience, and work on ourselves. It can be helpful to seek support through self-reflection, therapy, or self-help groups to identify and transform our own negative beliefs and patterns. Through conscious practice of self-love and self-acceptance, we can embark on a journey of sexual self-development and lead a fulfilling and authentic sexual life. Body positivity. Developing a healthy relationship with your own body. Body positivity refers to a healthy relationship with one's own body and the acceptance and appreciation of all body shapes and sizes. In terms of sexual self-development, a positive body image is of great importance. A healthy relationship with our own body allows us to feel comfortable in our own skin and to develop ourselves confidently and freely during sex. It's about not seeing our body as a problem or deficit, but as a source of joy, pleasure, and sensuality. Body positivity means embracing our bodies in all their shapes and sizes, regardless of societal beauty ideals or comparisons to others. It's about treating our bodies with respect and love and freeing ourselves from negative body images and self-doubt. To develop a healthy relationship with our own bodies, we can focus on looking at our bodies with gratitude and mindfulness. We can learn to touch ourselves lovingly and empower ourselves with positive affirmations. It can also be helpful to let go of toxic comparisons with others and focus on what we like and are proud of about our own bodies. Body positivity in sexual self-expression also means enjoying our bodies during the sexual act and freeing ourselves from shame or insecurities. It is about celebrating our bodies as a source of pleasure and detaching ourselves from societal stigmas and expectations. By developing a healthy relationship with our bodies and cultivating body positivity, we create the foundation for fulfilling sexual self-development. It enables us to feel free and confident during sex, to express our desires and needs, and to experience an authentic sexual experience. The influence of shame and guilt on sexual self-development. Feelings of shame and guilt can have a significant impact on sexual self-development. They can prevent us from expressing our sexual desires and needs, feeling comfortable in sexual situations, and reaching our full sexual potential. Shame refers to feeling that something is sexually wrong or inappropriate about us or our behavior. This can be shaped by societal norms, cultural expectations, religious beliefs, or personal experiences. Shame can cause us to feel unsafe in sexual situations, reject ourselves, or feel guilty about pursuing our sexual desires. At the same time, feelings of guilt can arise when we believe that our sexual behavior violates our own moral or ethical beliefs. This can lead us to judge ourselves for our sexual acts or to feel guilty about having or wanting to act on certain sexual preferences. The effects of shame and guilt on sexual self-expression can be manifold. They can reduce our sexual pleasure and desire, suppress our sexual identity and orientation, and impair our ability to open up sexually and experience intimacy. To reduce the impact of shame and guilt on sexual self-development, it is important to consciously confront and understand these feelings. This may mean confronting your own belief systems and convictions, questioning societal norms, and communicating with supportive people or professionals. It can also be helpful to show yourself compassion and understanding and to let go of negative self-judgments. Learning self-acceptance and developing a positive body image can also help reduce feelings of shame and guilt. By freeing ourselves from shame and guilt, we create space for free, self-determined and fulfilling sexual self-development. We can acknowledge our sexual desires and needs, express them and enjoy a fulfilling and authentic sexual experience without being limited by shame or guilt. Sexuality beyond performance orientation. Sexuality beyond performance refers to a new perspective on sexual relationships and experiences where the focus is not on performance, endurance or certain expectations, but on the fulfillment of desire, intimacy and emotional connection. In a performance-oriented sexual culture, a lot of emphasis is often placed on sexual performance. It is about the duration of intercourse, the frequency of orgasms or meeting certain standards and norms. This can lead to pressure, stress and insecurities as people constantly compare themselves to others or are afraid of not living up to expectations. Sexuality beyond the focus on performance encourages you to shift your focus away from external evaluations and norms and instead concentrate on your individual needs, desires and feelings. It's about exploring your own body and your own feelings of pleasure without being influenced by external expectations. Letting go of the focus on performance opens up new possibilities for authentic and fulfilling sexual experiences. It's about being present in the moment, paying attention to your own sensations, and enjoying intimacy with your partner. It allows us to explore our sexuality in a playful and pleasurable way and to let go of the idea of perfection or fulfilling expectations. Sexual self-development beyond performance orientation allows us to align our sexuality with our own needs and desires and to establish a deeper connection with ourselves and our partners. It opens up space for intimacy, trust and acceptance without having to define ourselves by our sexual performance. By moving away from a focus on performance, we can discover a new form of sexual satisfaction and fulfillment. It's about removing the pressure to judge our sexual performance and instead creating an atmosphere of openness, curiosity and acceptance. By focusing on our own needs and the needs of our partner, we can experience deeper intimacy and connection and enjoy a fulfilling and authentic sexuality. Letting go of performance pressure and expectations. Letting go of performance pressure and expectations refers to being freed from the pressure to be sexually perfect and to live up to the expectations of others. Our society often propagates certain ideas and norms about sexual performance and endurance, which can lead to considerable pressure and stress. To have a fulfilling sex life, it is important to let go of the pressure to perform and free yourself from unrealistic expectations. Every person is unique and has individual needs, preferences and sensations. It is about accepting yourself and understanding that it is not about meeting certain standards, but about the experience of pleasure, intimacy and satisfaction. By letting go of the pressure to perform, we can focus on the moment and enjoy the joy and pleasure of the sexual experience. It's about allowing yourself to be authentic and detaching yourself from external judgments and expectations. By focusing on our own needs and the needs of our partner, we can build deeper intimacy and connection. It's important to realize that sexual experiences are not tied to any particular standards or performance criteria. Every person and every relationship is unique, and there is no right or wrong when it comes to sexual experiences. By letting go of the pressure to perform and expectations, we can focus on discovering and exploring our own pleasure and sexuality and create a fulfilling sexual relationship. It takes courage and self-reflection to let go of the pressure to perform and expectations. It can help to talk to our partner about it and have open communication about our sexual desires, needs and fears. By supporting and encouraging each other, we can create a powerful foundation for a fulfilling and authentic sexuality. Letting go of performance pressure and expectations allows us to have a relaxed and satisfying sexual experience. It allows us to accept and love ourselves without defining ourselves by our sexual performance. By freeing ourselves from societal ideas and norms, we can focus on our own needs and desires and enjoy a fulfilling and authentic sexuality. The importance of intimacy and connection in sex. The importance of intimacy and connection in sex is that it allows for a deeper level of sexual experience. Intimacy refers to the emotional closeness, trust and connection between partners. It's about opening up to each other, showing vulnerability and building a deep connection. Sex is not just about the physical activity, but also about the emotional and spiritual connection between partners. Intimacy can help both partners feel safe, loved and respected. It creates a sense of harmony and alignment where both partners merge with each other on a deeper level. Intimacy and connection during sex can be promoted by various factors. Open and honest communication is of great importance. It is important to talk about sexual desires, needs and boundaries and to listen to each other. Through such communication, trust can be built and space for intimacy can be created. Physical and emotional presence in the moment also plays an important role. By consciously focusing on the present moment and intensely perceiving the sensory experiences, we can establish a deeper connection with our own body and our partner. In addition, introducing rituals and shared experiences can strengthen intimacy and connection during sex. This can be done, for example, through mutual massages, joint relaxation exercises or exploring new sexual fantasies. The importance of intimacy and connection during sex is also because it promotes a satisfying and fulfilling sexual experience. When we feel emotionally connected to our partner and feel safe and accepted, we can fully surrender to the moment and experience our desire and passion more intensely. Creating intimacy and connection during sex takes time, patience, and commitment from both partners. It is important to give each other space and be responsive to your partner's needs and desires. By fostering intimacy and connection, we can reach a deeper level of sexual fulfillment and build a fulfilling and enriching sexual relationship. The art of enjoyment. Practices of mindfulness and devotion. The art of pleasure involves practices of mindfulness and devotion to take the sexual experience to a deeper and more intense level. It is about fully grasping the moment and engaging in the sexual experience with all of your senses. Mindfulness plays a central role here. It is about being in the present moment consciously and without judgment and consciously experiencing your own feelings and sensory perceptions. Through mindful practices such as conscious breathing, body awareness and focusing on your own sensations, we can direct our attention completely to the present moment and intensify the sexual experience. Surrender means giving yourself completely to the moment and to your partner. It's about letting go of expectations, pressure to perform or distractions and completely engaging in desire and pleasure. Surrender requires trust, openness and the willingness to let go of control and self-confidence in order to experience sensuality and passion in all its fullness. Practices of mindfulness and surrender can be encouraged through various techniques and exercises. This can be done, for example, through shared meditation, slower and more conscious touches, consciously slowing down the pace during lovemaking or consciously focusing on the partner's sensations and reactions. Through the practices of mindfulness and devotion, we can intensify the sexual experience, connect more closely with our bodies and our pleasures, and build a deeper connection with our partner. By experiencing the moment consciously and completely surrendering to sexual pleasure, we can take sexual self-development and pleasurable enjoyment to a new level. Expansion of the sexual repertoire. Expanding your sexual repertoire involves exploring new sexual practices, techniques and fantasies to promote sexual self-expression and increase desire and pleasure. It's about moving beyond your usual routines and discovering new possibilities that can enrich and expand your sexual experience. Expanding your sexual repertoire can be done in a variety of ways. This can be done by exploring new positions, techniques or sex toys. It can also mean living out new erotic fantasies or trying out sexual role plays. Communication with your partner plays an important role in discovering new ideas together and exploring your own desires and limits. Expanding your sexual repertoire can increase both physical and emotional intimacy. It allows for a deeper connection to your body and your sexual needs and desires. By exploring new possibilities, we can better understand our sexual preferences and further develop our sexual identity. It is important to emphasize that expanding the sexual repertoire should be based on mutual consent, respect and communication. Each partner should have the freedom to set their own limits and feel comfortable and safe in the sexual experience. It is advisable to establish rules and boundaries together and always be open to feedback and exchange. By expanding our sexual repertoire, we can advance our sexual self-development and discover new dimensions of pleasure and desire. It allows us to enrich our sexual experiences, live out our fantasies and increase our sexual satisfaction. Exploration and experimentation. New ways of sexual exploration. Exploration and experimentation are important aspects of sexual self-development that allow us to discover new avenues of sexual exploration and expand our sexual repertoire. It's about being curious, opening up, and trying different options to better understand our sexual preferences and needs. Exploration can be done alone or with a partner. It's about exploring your own body and preferences and finding out what excites and satisfies you sexually. This can be done through masturbation, self-pleasuring techniques, or discovering erogenous zones. It's about taking your time, paying attention to your own sensations, and trying new ways of stimulation. Experimenting involves exploring new sexual practices, techniques, or fantasies. It can mean trying out new positions, playing erotic role plays, or incorporating BDSM elements into lovemaking. It is always important that everyone involved agrees and communicates desires, limits, and preferences. Exploration and experimentation provide us with the opportunity to explore and develop our sexual identity. It allows us to better understand our preferences and discover new ways of sexual fulfillment. It can also help increase sexual intimacy and trust with a partner by exploring new avenues of sexual exploration together. It is important to emphasize that exploration and experimentation should be based on consent, respect, and communication. Each partner should have the freedom to set their own boundaries and feel comfortable and safe in the sexual experience. It is advisable to talk about desires, limits, and fantasies beforehand, and to check in with each other during the process. Through exploration and experimentation, we can advance our sexual self-development and embark on an exciting journey of sexual exploration. It allows us to better understand our sexual preferences, discover new forms of pleasure and enjoyment, and increase our sexual satisfaction. By opening ourselves up to sexual exploration, new dimensions of pleasure and enjoyment open up to us. Discovering your own preferences and inclinations. Discovering your own preferences and inclinations is an important step in sexual self-development. It's about finding out what excites us sexually, what gives us pleasure, and which fantasies or practices particularly appeal to us. This process requires self-reflection, openness, and a willingness to experiment. In order to discover your own preferences and inclinations, it is helpful to observe yourself and pay attention to your own feelings. Which touches, stimulations, or fantasies trigger sexual excitement or feelings of desire in us? Which situations or stimuli appeal to us particularly? By consciously dealing with our sexual feelings, we can better recognize and understand our preferences. It can also be helpful to explore different sexual practices, positions, or types of play. Trying new things can help us discover what we like and what we don't. It's important to listen to our bodies and feelings and allow ourselves to recognize and respect our limits. Discovering one's own preferences and inclinations can also be supported by communication with a partner. By talking openly and honestly about our desires, fantasies, and limits, we can explore new ways of sexual fulfillment together. It is important that this communication is based on trust and respect, and that both partners have the freedom to express their own preferences and limits. Discovering your own preferences and inclinations is an individual process that requires time and patience. It is normal for our sexual preferences to change or evolve over time. Therefore, it is important to be open to new experiences and to allow yourself to evolve sexually. By discovering our own preferences and inclinations, we can experience a fulfilling and satisfying sexuality. It allows us to better understand our sexual needs and express them in our sexual relationships. Discovering our own preferences and inclinations opens up the possibility of knowing ourselves better and developing an authentic sexual identity. Intensifying pleasure. Techniques and tools to increase pleasure. Intensifying desire is one aspect of sexual self-development that can help increase sexual pleasure. There are various techniques and tools that can help with this. Some possibilities are outlined below. Erotic massages. Erotic massages can bring about deep relaxation and arousal. Through gentle touches and skilled massage techniques, desire can be increased and the entire body can be included in the sexual experience. There are various techniques and instructions that you can learn to perform erotic massages. Sex toys and aids. Sex toys can enrich your lovemaking. From vibrators to dildos to bondage toys, there are a variety of options that can intensify sexual pleasure. It is important to know your own preferences and limits and to agree with your partner which toys and aids should be used. Erotic fantasies and role plays. Immersing yourself in erotic fantasies and playing roles can increase sexual desire. It allows you to put yourself in the shoes of other characters and scenarios and thereby have new experiences. It is important to pay attention to your own comfort zones and the limits of your partner and to agree together on which fantasies and role plays you want to implement. Stimulation and breathing techniques. Sexual arousal can be intensified through special stimulation and breathing techniques. These include, for example, delaying ejaculation through conscious breathing control or learning certain techniques for clitoral stimulation. These techniques can help to increase sexual pleasure and deepen the sexual experience. Tantra and sexual energy work. Tantra is a spiritual practice that can also be applied in the area of sexuality. Through special exercises and techniques, sexual energy can be increased and consciously directed. This can lead to more intense and fulfilling sexual experiences. It is important to emphasize that the intensification of pleasure is individual and that everyone has different preferences and needs. It is important to respect your own limits and to get involved in what feels right for you. Open communication with your partner is crucial in order to try out new techniques and tools together and to increase sexual pleasure. The role of the partner and the importance of shared sexual development. The role of the partner and mutual sexual development are crucial factors for a fulfilling and satisfying sexuality. In a relationship, it is important that both partners support each other, respect each other and are open to new experiences. The importance of the partner and mutual sexual development are examined in more detail below. Communication and openness. Open and honest communication between partners is essential for a fulfilling sexual relationship. It is important to talk about desires, needs and fantasies and to support each other. Open communication can avoid misunderstandings and define common sexual goals. Empathy and understanding. Empathy and understanding of your partner's needs and desires are very important. It is important to put yourself in the other person's shoes and respect their sexual preferences and limits. Mutual understanding can create a basis of trust that supports sexual development. A willingness to experiment and curiosity. The mutual willingness to have new sexual experiences and to develop together is an important factor for a fulfilling sexuality. It is important to be open to new techniques, practices and fantasies and to embark on sexual adventures together. The willingness to experiment and curiosity can increase sexual pleasure and strengthen the relationship. Shared goals and growth. Shared sexual development also includes setting shared goals and striving for personal and communal growth. This can include, For example, learning new techniques, exploring new sexual interests, or trying out new practices together. Shared growth can deepen and enrich the sexual relationship. Acceptance and respect. Acceptance and respect for your partner and their sexual identity are of central importance. Everyone has individual preferences, limits and needs. It is important to accept and respect these in order to build a healthy and satisfying sexual relationship. Supporting your partner in their sexual self-development is an important step towards a fulfilling sexuality. The role of the partner and the mutual sexual development are dynamic processes that require continuous attention and care. Through open communication, mutual understanding, a willingness to experiment and setting common goals, the sexual relationship can grow and develop. The willingness to engage with each other and to grow together can lead to a fulfilling and satisfying sexuality. Open communication and mutual support. Open communication and mutual support are fundamental elements for a healthy and fulfilling sexual relationship. The importance of these aspects is explained in more detail below. Open communication. Open communication between partners is crucial to discussing sexual needs, desires, fantasies and boundaries. It is important to communicate in a trusting and respectful space where both partners can freely express their thoughts and feelings. Open communication can avoid misunderstandings and strengthen sexual intimacy. Understanding and empathy. Understanding and empathy for your partner's needs, desires and limits are crucial for a fulfilling sexual relationship. It is important to put yourself in the other person's shoes and understand their perspective. Empathy can lead to a deeper understanding of each other and strengthen the connection between partners. Support and encouragement. Mutual support and encouragement are essential elements of a healthy sexual relationship. It is important to encourage your partner to express and explore their sexual desires and needs. Mutual support can create an atmosphere of trust and security that allows both partners to thrive sexually. Willingness to compromise. In a sexual relationship, it is important to compromise and find common solutions. Each partner has different preferences and needs, and it is important to reconcile these to ensure a fulfilling sexual experience for both. By being willing to compromise, both partners can get their money's worth and satisfy their sexual needs. Openness to new things. An open attitude towards new experiences and practices can enrich the sexual relationship. It is important to try new things together and expand the sexual experience. By being open to new things, new heights of pleasure and intimacy can be reached. Open communication and mutual support create a solid foundation for a fulfilling sexual relationship. They allow partners to express themselves in a safe and trusting space and to deepen their sexual intimacy. Through openness to one another and support from one's partner, a fulfilling and satisfying sexual relationship can be built. The art of growing together. Sexual self-development as a couple. Sexual self-development as a couple is a continuous journey of mutual growth and discovery. Some important aspects of this process are highlighted below. Set common goals. It is important to set common goals in relation to sexual self-development as a couple. This could be, for example, exploring new sexual practices, trying out role-playing or learning and developing new techniques together. By setting common goals, sexual self-development as a couple becomes a shared adventure. Open communication. Open communication between partners is also very important in sexual self-development. It is important to exchange ideas about desires, fantasies, limits and possible insecurities. Open communication creates trust and enables both partners to support and encourage each other. A willingness to experiment and curiosity. A willingness to experiment and curiosity are important in order to promote sexual self-development as a couple. It is important to engage in new experiences together, try out new practices and explore together what gives both partners pleasure. The willingness to discover new things can make the sexual relationship exciting and fulfilling. Intimacy and connection. Sexual self-expression as a couple goes beyond just sex. It's about building deep intimacy and connection. This can be done through sharing fantasies, creating intimate moments, or exploring emotional connections. Strengthening the emotional bond supports sexual self-expression and creates a deeper level of intimacy. Support and respect. Support and respect for each other are fundamental to sexual self-development as a couple. Each partner should respect and support the other's needs, desires and boundaries. Mutual support creates an atmosphere of trust in which both partners can feel safe to explore their sexual self-development. Sexual self-development as a couple is an exciting journey that helps to deepen and enrich the sexual relationship. Through shared goals, open communication, a willingness to experiment, intimacy, support and respect. Both partners can build a fulfilling and satisfying sexual relationship and develop their sexual desires and needs together. Dealing with challenges and difficulties. Dealing with challenges and difficulties is an important aspect of sexual self-development. Below are some strategies and approaches to overcome these challenges. Open communication. Open communication is key to addressing challenges. It is important to talk about problems, fears or insecurities and not to ignore them. Through honest and respectful communication, both partners can look for solutions together. Finding solutions together. Difficulties in sexual self-development should be seen as a shared challenge. Both partners should actively participate in finding solutions and working together to find ways to overcome the challenges. It can be helpful to seek professional support from a sex therapist or counselor. Empathy and understanding. Treating each other with empathy and understanding is crucial to overcoming difficulties. It is important to acknowledge and understand your partner's feelings and needs. Empathy can create a supportive and compassionate atmosphere in which both partners feel safe to address their challenges. Patience and perseverance. When it comes to sexual self-development, change and progress can take time. It is important to be patient and not expect things to change for the better immediately. Through perseverance and continuous effort, difficulties can be overcome and positive change can be achieved. Seek professional help. If the challenges are too great or cannot be overcome alone, it may be a good idea to seek professional help. A sex therapist or counselor can help identify individual challenges and develop suitable solutions. Dealing with challenges and difficulties requires an open and collaborative approach. By being willing to communicate, find solutions and support each other, both partners can overcome the difficulties and continue to advance their sexual self-development. Overcoming sexual blockages and fears. Overcoming sexual blocks and fears is an important step on the path to sexual self-development. Here are some approaches and strategies that can help. Raise awareness. Recognize and identify your sexual blocks and fears. Be honest with yourself and reflect on what thoughts, experiences or beliefs are causing these blocks. Acceptance and self-compassion. Accept yourself and your sexual fears and blocks. Be compassionate with yourself and recognize that it is normal to have such challenges. Don't judge yourself for it, but be patient and loving to yourself. Be informed and educate yourself. Knowledge is power. Educate yourself about sexual health, desire, and different aspects of sexuality. Understand that sexual blocks and fears can often be based on incorrect or incomplete information. The more you learn about this, the better you can overcome these blocks. Professional support. If your sexual blocks and fears are deeper or persistent, it may be helpful to seek support from a professional sex therapist or counselor. They have the expertise and experience to help you identify and overcome your blocks. Gradual approach. Take your time and take a step-by-step approach to overcoming your sexual fears and blocks. Start with small steps and set realistic goals. Celebrate every step you take and be patient with yourself. Communication with your partner. Share your fears and blocks with your partner when you feel ready. Open and honest communication can help to foster understanding and support from your partner. Together you can create a space where you support each other and work together to overcome these obstacles. Overcoming sexual blocks and fears requires time, patience, and work on yourself. By facing your fears, seeking professional help, and receiving support from your partner, you can advance your sexual self-development and experience a more fulfilling sexuality. Solution strategies for sexual dysfunction. When it comes to sexual dysfunction, there are various problem-solving strategies that can help overcome the challenges. Here are some possible approaches. Physical examination. If you are experiencing sexual dysfunction, it is important to perform a physical examination to rule out any possible underlying medical problems. Consult a doctor or sex therapist for a professional diagnosis and appropriate treatment options. Psychotherapy. Psychological factors often play a role in sexual dysfunction. Individual psychotherapy or couples therapy can help identify and overcome underlying fears, stress, or other psychological challenges. Medications. In some cases, medications may be used to treat sexual dysfunction. It is important to discuss this with a medical professional to determine the correct medication and dosage. Sexual techniques and exercises. Certain techniques and exercises can help improve sexual function. This may include, for example, pelvic floor exercises to strengthen the muscles or special techniques to delay orgasm. Communication and partnership. Open communication with your partner about sexual desires, needs, and challenges is very important. Joint solutions and support can make it easier to deal with sexual dysfunction. Lifestyle changes. A healthy lifestyle can help reduce sexual dysfunction. This includes regular physical activity, eating a balanced diet, getting enough sleep, and managing stress. It is important to note that sexual dysfunction varies from individual to individual, and treatment should be tailored to specific needs and causes. Always consult a medical professional or sex therapist for an accurate diagnosis and appropriate treatment options. Professional help and support options. If you are experiencing sexual challenges and dysfunction, it may be helpful to seek professional help and support. Here are some options. Sex therapy. A sex therapist specializes in treating sexual problems and dysfunctions. They can offer individual or couples therapy to identify underlying causes and develop resolution strategies. Medical consultation. A doctor can perform a comprehensive medical examination for sexual dysfunction and rule out possible physical causes. They can also prescribe medication if appropriate. Psychological counseling. A psychologist can help with psychological challenges that affect sexual health, such as anxiety or stress. They can teach techniques to manage stress and improve overall well-being. Self-help groups. There are self-help groups or online forums where people with similar sexual challenges can share their experiences and find support. Exchanging ideas with like-minded people can be comforting and offer new perspectives. Online resources. There are a variety of online resources, such as websites, articles, and videos, that provide information and tips on sexual problems and dysfunction. However, it is important to be critical and choose reliable sources. It is important to note that everyone is different and the best support may vary from person to person. It is recommended to explore different options and choose those that best suit individual needs and circumstances. The first step is to seek help and get professional support to find your own path to a fulfilling sexuality. Long-term strategies for lasting sexual self-development. There are some long-term strategies that can be helpful for lasting sexual self-development. Here are some of them. Self-reflection and awareness. Regular self-reflection about your own needs, desires and limits is important in order to achieve authentic sexual self-development. This also includes dealing with your own values and attitudes towards sexuality. Continuous communication. Open and honest communication with your partner is very important. It is important to talk about sexual desires, fantasies and preferences and to look together for new opportunities for sexual development. Sexual education. Continuing to educate yourself and learn new techniques and practices can help expand your sexual repertoire and discover new pleasures. This can be done through books, workshops, online courses, or visiting professionals in the field of sexuality. Self-love and self-care. A healthy relationship with yourself and a positive body image are essential for long-term sexual self-development. Self-love and self-care also include caring for your own body and recognizing and fulfilling your own needs outside of the sexual context. Mindfulness and presence. Practicing mindfulness and presence during sexual experience can help you to be in the moment and enjoy the sexual experience more intensely. This includes focusing on your own sensations and consciously experiencing intimacy with your partner. Openness to change. Sexual self-development is a lifelong process that can change over time. It is important to be open to new experiences, discoveries and changes and not to fixate on certain ideas or norms. These long-term strategies can help you achieve lasting sexual self-development and experience a fulfilling sexuality. Every person is unique, so it is important to consider individual needs and preferences and to find your own path. Self-care and self-care in everyday life. Self-care and self-care are important aspects to support long-term sexual self-development. Here are some ways to practice self-care and self-care in everyday life. Take time for yourself. Consciously create time for yourself to recognize and fulfill your needs. This can mean giving yourself regular timeouts to do things that bring you joy or provide you with relaxation. Healthy diet. Make sure you eat a balanced and healthy diet that provides your body with the energy and nutrients it needs. A healthy diet can have a positive effect on your general well-being and physical fitness, which in turn can affect your sexual self-development. Physical activity. Regular physical activity not only has positive effects on your physical health, but can also improve your general well-being. Sport and exercise can increase your energy, reduce stress and improve your body image. Sleep hygiene. Make sure you get enough high-quality sleep. Good sleep is important for your physical and mental regeneration and can have a positive effect on your sexual health. Stress management. Find ways to manage and reduce stress. This can be done through various methods such as relaxation techniques, meditation, breathing exercises, or pursuing hobbies and interests. Maintain social contacts. Build and maintain social relationships that provide you with support, joy and interaction. Good social support can have a positive effect on your general well-being and your sexual self-development. Setting boundaries. Learn to recognize and respect your own boundaries. Set clear boundaries regarding your needs, desires and preferences and communicate these openly and honestly to your partner. By taking care of your self-care and self-care in your daily life, you create a solid foundation for your sexual self-development. It is important to take care of yourself and give yourself the time and space to recognize and fulfill your needs. Integration of sexual self-development into the life path. Integrating sexual self-development into your life path is an important step to experiencing a fulfilling sexuality in the long term. Here are some ways you can achieve this. Self-reflection. Take time to identify and reflect on your sexual desires, needs and preferences. Ask yourself what kind of sexual experience you want and how it can fit into your life. Self-acceptance. Accept yourself and your sexual identity without reservation. Learn to accept and value your own desires and preferences, regardless of societal expectations or norms. Continuous development. Sexual self-development is a continuous process. Be open to new experiences. Constantly learn and explore different aspects of your sexuality. Experiment with new techniques, practices or fantasies to expand your sexual horizons. Integration into everyday life. Find ways to integrate your sexual self-development into your everyday life. This can mean regularly scheduling time for yourself and your sexual fulfillment. Paying conscious attention to your sexual needs and maintaining open communication with your partner. Open communication. Share your sexual desires, needs and fantasies with your partner. Create a space for open and honest conversations about sexual topics and strive for mutual sexual development. Self-awareness and self-confidence. Develop strong self-awareness and self-confidence in your sexual identity and expression. Believe in your ability to develop sexually and confidently stand up for your needs and desires. Continuity and adaptation. Sexual self-development is not a static state, but changes throughout life. Stay open to change and adapt your sexual self-development accordingly to meet changing needs and circumstances. Integrating sexual self-development into your life path requires time, patience and self-reflection. By continually dealing with your sexuality and consciously integrating it into your life, you can achieve a fulfilling and authentic sexual experience. The continuity of sexual development. Maintaining the new path. Continuity of sexual development is crucial to maintaining the new path of sexual self-expression. Here are some tips on how to achieve this. Self-reflection and self-examination. Take time regularly to reflect and examine your sexual development. Ask yourself if you are still meeting your sexual goals and needs and if there are areas you would like to further improve. Education and research. Stay up to date on new findings and techniques related to sexual health and fulfillment. read books, attend workshops, or join online communities to expand your knowledge and skills. Regular practice. To maintain your sexual development, regular practice is crucial. Set goals and schedule time for sexual activity and exploration. Make it a priority in your life and consciously make time for your sexual self-development. Open communication with your partner. Maintain open communication with your partner. Share your needs, desires and progress with them and explore new ways of sexual fulfillment together. Avoid keeping quiet about problems. Talk about them and work together to find solutions. Mindfulness and self-care. Pay attention to your physical and emotional needs. Maintain a healthy lifestyle that includes adequate sleep, a balanced diet, and regular physical activity. Take time for relaxation and self-care to support your well-being and sexual development. Flexibility and adaptability. Be open to change and adapt your sexual development as your needs or circumstances change. Be willing to try new techniques and engage in new experiences. The continuity of sexual development requires commitment and dedication. By viewing your sexual development as an ongoing process and actively working on it, you can achieve lasting and fulfilling sexual self-development. Rights and ownership notice. This audiobook is published and distributed by Testbericht LLC. All copyrights, publishing rights, distribution rights, audio rights, and related intellectual property rights for this work have been lawfully and exclusively acquired by Testbericht LLC. Testbericht LLC is the sole and unrestricted rights holder of this audiobook, including the right to reproduce, distribute, publish, monetize, and publicly perform the content on digital platforms such as YouTube. The original manuscript files, source documents, and contractual acquisition records serve as proof of lawful ownership. The original author and/or their authorized representative, Renovatio LLC, has transferred all relevant rights to Testbericht LLC in accordance with applicable copyright and publishing law. This ownership applies to all current and future uses of this work, including audio, video, and digital publications. Effective date of rights ownership: the 1st of February 2026. Any unauthorized use, reproduction, re-upload, redistribution, or claiming of this content is strictly prohibited. Copyright Testbericht LLC. All rights reserved.